Welcome to Five Guys Movies and Fries. My name is Joe. Today we're joined by Jeff.
Yo!
We also got Nac.
Hello.
And Will.
Hiya.
And today we're talking about The Sting. This is a 1973 movie. It was the winner of Best Picture. It won in between The Godfather Part 1 in 72 and The Godfather Part 2 in 74. Did I say that wrong? Part 1 in 72, Part 2 in 74. Okay. It was sandwiched in between there. That's how I remember the year of this movie. Directed by George Roy Hill, who's a Minneapolis native, I believe, who also directed Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in 1969. This movie stars Paul Newman, who you may know as a salad dressing mogul. And he also sells these knockoff Oreos called Newman O's. If you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
But before that, he was also a famous actor from Cool Hand Luke, and of course Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Hustler, Towering Inferno, etc. Robert Redford is the main star of this movie. He's from All the President's Men, Ordinary People, A River Runs Through It, and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Robert Shaw gets third billing. I know him from the taking of Pelham 123, the original one, obviously, and also Jaws. Some more background on this movie. It was written by David S. Ward, and it's one of those legendary screenplays that people read and said it was the great American screenplay, the greatest script they've ever read. Barely anything was changed from it, from script to film. George Roy Hill directed it, as I said. Everyone said he was kind of an autocrat, very demanding. He had to get his way. One interesting thing is that Dimitri Arliss, who played Celino, the assassin, had to get shot in the forehead with pellets that made her look like blood, and he made her do it twice because she blinked the first time. But at the same time, everyone said, it was a very good experience making this movie, and they had fun. Let's talk about our initial thoughts. I'll go first. This is probably my favorite movie of all time. I love it because it's a good period piece movie. People talk like it's the 30s, and yet you don't need a 1930s slang dictionary to understand it. Obviously, it's got immaculate sets, costumes by Edith Head. It's a very complicated plot that has twists and turns, and yet it's very rewarding upon rewatch. And one of my favorite things about it is the Scott Joplin score as adapted by Marvin Hamlish. It's so whimsical and so joyful. It's such a good movie for me.
I had a question about that. So
yes.
I've heard that song that they use in this, like
The
elsewhere.
Entertainer.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's really, really easy to remember.
That fucking
the melody.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Is that from this originally, or
No, Scott
Okay.
Joplin was an original ragtime piano player, and his music was almost forgotten until this movie came along, and Marvin Hamlish adapted the just piano compositions into a full orchestral score.
Interesting?
And
Okay.
this was a very high-selling soundtrack on the Billboard charts.
I bet.
But
It's
the
really
thing is,
good.
ragtime music is known for the turn of the century in the 1910s, and this movie obviously takes place in 1936. So it is a little anachronistic, like it doesn't belong. In the 1930s, they had swing and jazz and blues, not ragtime. But George Roy Hill fought for it to be just a ragtime score, saying only 5 people in the world are going to know that ragtime is actually from the turn of the century. And I don't care that it's not technically from the time period the movie's set in. I think it's just such a whimsical score.
Yeah, it works fantastically well for this movie.
Yeah, the rendition they do in this film is just so it sounds so full and open.
Yeah, there's clarinets and oboes and flutes in it. I routinely listen to this score, actually. I have it on vinyl.
I kind of disagree, if I'm being real.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Not that I dislike the music, I just think that sometimes tonally it doesn't fit. There's more than a couple times where we'll get an arguably dark scene for the time, where like somebody's shot and killed or something terrible happens, and then it immediately cuts to just like saloon music, and it's like, what is going on here? Like, it just doesn't. I feel like
I
I
mean,
would have liked, I guess, not necessarily darker, but a little bit more serious music at times in this movie.
there's one piece of music called, I think it's called Luther's theme. Luther is the character who is killed. It has a somber quality to it. It's minor key, I believe.
Yeah, but not long after that, we immediately cut to that ragtime shit.
Yeah.
Like, it is not long between
Just
Luther's
get into
death
ragtime, Jeff. Ragtime is supreme.
Quit ragging on me about that ragtime shit.
Yeah. You either like it or you don't. And maybe it's something that could grow on you in the future. I don't know.
Is there?
Yeah, I've mentioned before when we've watched these older flicks that I really don't like the scores in these older movies, but I think that a lot of that is just because the music doesn't really hit with me, and it's hard for me to understand those scores in context because I just haven't seen that many movies from that time period. You know what I mean? So it's like I hear the music and it just sounds weird to me because I'm used to the like newer movies having newer scores. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I get it.
And you're
Why
not
don't you-
exactly wrong. I mean, there are moments where the music just doesn't match the atmosphere of the scene we're getting.
Yeah, I feel I agree. It definitely has like kind of like a disconnect there, but I don't know. I kind of liked it. It like made the movie less depressing because this movie is really fucking fucked up. Honestly, like the guy steals them. It's just about people like stealing money just to survive, right? And then like he steals the money and just immediately goes and wastes it all, and he's all like, "Yeah, I blew it all." The guy's like, "What the hell? You blew it all already?" Like. Without that music, I feel like this movie would have a much more like kind of dour attitude, like atmosphere to it.
yeah, I definitely agree. I think with the way that this movie plays out, I think you could easily slap different forms of music on it to really give it different tones. I mean, you could arguably do that with any media, but I think this movie specifically, like it felt jollier because the music that was in there, but at times it just felt, like I said, tonally off.
Yeah.
Because of that.
What are your initial thoughts other than the music, Jeff?
I really liked it. I love a good con man story. Always have, always will. Robert Redford as a con man is a match made in heaven. That man is incredibly charismatic. I do agree that this is a great script. I can see that this is a great script. I think the way that the characters are written, in a lot of ways, it felt kind of natural. Some of the play between these characters. I think editing didn't do it any help. Editing didn't do very much for it. I think there was.
So when you say editing, are you talking about the transitions in particular?
Like scene to scene. There's some wipes and scene transitions that I feel like once again didn't tonally quite match.
I see. Now I'm disagreeing with you. I love all the wacky transitions. It's got side wipes, diagonal wipes, fade to blacks, iris opens, iris close. So many different.
Some of them feel jarring though. Like the way that they're placed in a scene. So like we'll have a conversation between two characters, and it feels like the edit just like cuts it off. I guess. Like,
okay.
Sometimes it feels like either the scene isn't over or the scene has been over for too long, and the edit just feels weird time-wise in regards to the scene. That having been said, though, there are a lot of times where I do like the scene transitions. I especially like the pages that turn in between the different acts of the movie.
Yeah, the page flips are
Chapter cards.
super cool. Yeah,
I like that a lot. I also really like it because I feel like somebody who could struggle with a con man heist type movie like this, I like that they kind of tell you what's happening here. They're like, this is the take right here. This is the shutdown right here. You know what I mean? So it's like holding your hand, but like not like it's not like heavy exposition. It's just like, okay, this is what's going to be happening in this chunk of time. I like that a lot. Overall, I like this movie a lot. I liked that it didn't hold your hand at all. That you kind of had to pick up on things as you went. It's definitely a product of the time. I heard like 6 N-bombs in this movie. That was kind of jarring.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In the 70s, I heard that many N-bombs. I do like the setup for this a lot. I think we really like Luther. We like his character. We get a good introduction to his family. We see he's a good dude. and then he's just unceremoniously just dropped. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even happen on screen. It's just off screen. We show up and he's already dead. I felt the impact of that. And we didn't get much of an introduction to him either, which, I mean, we did. Like, it was a solid introduction that we did get, but he didn't get much screen time. So we didn't get a whole lot of time to attach to him, but I still gave a shit that he was killed. He didn't feel like he was just a prop. He didn't feel like a lamp to me. I find it crazy to believe that we got like 75 people on this con. That felt a little outlandish.
That was awesome.
But that's a little nitpicky, but this dude has like an entire cast of people that he brings in for this con to this one person.
The justification, the justification was that everyone was so moved by Luther's death. And there is a historical basis for this kind of thing, actually. This is based on a book called The Big Con by David Maurer. And it was a real thing that people would set up fake Wall Street rooms or fake betting rooms just to con people, mostly tourists.
That's fucking awesome.
It's awesome, but at the time it would have sucked.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That's the fun thing about this movie, is that it's about con men who cheat people out of their money, which sucks, but it's looking at it through a nostalgic lens. I don't know.
I love that it's like a reverse heist too. Like,
in a way, yeah.
That's so
They're
fucking,
careful
that's
to
such a cool idea.
They're careful to show that the people that are getting conned are garbage people. Like the one guy at the very beginning, the guy who takes the like $5,000 to bring it to the mob, he's like, they immediately like turn that around. He's like going to pocket the money. He's like, just hops in a cab. He's like, peace, bitch. And then takes off with he's like, easiest $5,000 ever made.
You recognize him, right?
No.
You don't recognize him? Mottola?
No.
He plays Dr. Mora in Deep Space Nine.
Oh,
I was confident you would have nailed that, but
deep cut.
Wrong before.
I just didn't pick up on it. I felt like that whole assassin tiny little subplot that happened with that girl that Robert Redford was hitting on, that felt super tacked on to me. I don't know what the significance of that was.
It was kind of tacked on. I know the writers said that that kind of solved his problems with the story. So take what you will with the meaning. It's a convoluted plot, and I do agree that kind of solves a lot of the problems. But
yeah, a lot of the rest of the movie felt relatively cohesive to me, especially if you just like were able to take a step back and just enjoy it for what it is instead of doing what I did and question why they got 75 people on this con. But
no, this is a movie you want to question. You want to find the plot holes. Yeah.
That's the scene that really stuck out to me. Like, out of everything in the movie, nothing really leapt out at me too hard, but she just came out of nowhere and then gets shot, and this guy's like, oh yeah, she was an assassin. Anyways, let's move the plot forward. It's like, what? Okay. But yeah, overall, I really like this movie. Like I said, even a bad movie with a con man atmosphere is okay with me. So
okay. What do you think? What do you think, Knack?
Well, I was excited to see this initially because anybody I talked to that had seen it before had big and great things to say about it. So I was deeply excited and was not let down at all. I love the one trouble I have is that even going into a movie that just revolves around con men, I still take a lot of things at face value without questioning everything that's on the screen, and that gets me in trouble sometimes. I like the chapter cards, the chapter transitions, and the street scenery. The street scenery in this was fantastic. Like,
thank you I totally forgot to. Yes, the sets in this movie are incredible.
Yeah, the production on it, like from the opening scene to sort of like a down and out. Dirty, dingy street, and then the next chapter after Hooker gets his new suit, and then he's in like a nice part of town, and you see all the brightly colored signs on stores and drugstores and everything. Just everything. My eyes were all over the screen during those kind of scenes. Yeah, I have plenty to go on here. I mean, Robert Redford, Paul Newman, you're both phenomenal. Like, Paul Newman's blue eyes light up any screen. Like,
yeah,
anything.
Everyone says that. Yeah,
yeah. He's got the brightest blue eyes. Like, even I think the most recently produced movie I saw him in was Road to Perdition, and even there, he's just a well-rounded actor all around. Yeah, the street shots were great. I love how picturesque every character in this movie is. Just from Lonigan to Billy to just every character just seems to just have presence to me. Just in the general appearance.
There's that guy who looks like DJ Quayle.
Oh yeah, who plays Erie? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like I was not let down by the movie. I like the reveal that the FBI was staged as well. Like I was actually I was actually in high belief that that FBI agent Polk was an actual FBI agent.
That's really interesting. I do want to talk to you guys about the twists, but can we save that?
I felt a little suspicious of it, but that's because they just brought it in so late. Like if you're going to add a major plot thread like that with like these FBI agents in an arguably well-written movie, then to tack them on so late just kind of had me suspicious of the whole thing off the jump. I didn't expect them to be completely in on the take, but
I had an idea. Like the second that they showed up, I was like, "Oh, these must be part of the like 100 fucking guys that this guy's using for the heist." Like, I don't know, it just made sense. And then at a certain point, I was like, "Oh no, wait! I think these are actually real FBI guys." And then when they like were in on it at the end, I was like, "Oh, thank God! Okay, I was right."
Yeah, all around, really loved the movie. I just loved how attached I was to it, and yeah, nothing bad to say off the bat.
Random question for you guys. This is something I only caught on several rewatches, a few rewatches ago. Robert Redford runs away when he sees the door before the assassins open the door. How does he see that coming? Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, he the piece of paper. Yeah.
Yes, you got it.
Yeah, he
piece of paper.
Slipped that piece of paper in there to see if anybody's entered his room. Yeah.
I missed that every time.
That's insane. I'm surprised.
Well, it was during a musical montage, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
The music captured you a bit more during those scenes.
Yeah.
I do want to say I liked Billy. Even though Gondorf is kind of like the big con man just operating everything, when Billy asks something of him, he just does it. He just says, "Yeah, go ahead." I liked Billy in this movie.
Yeah, I liked her character too, and she's basically running a brothel in the back of this.
Okay, that's what it was.
Parlor.
Yeah, because she like went in and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna let the girls use the round for a bit," and then there was all these ladies on the carousel, and I was like, "Is this like a brothel situation?"
Yeah, and I
think so.
I'm dense, so
I'm
sure it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, I had. Plus, when she says like something about the Man of War, and I'm like, Man of War, what is she talking about? And I'm like, oh, it's a thrill ride. It's like the octopus. It's
yeah.
I actually had to do a little questioning about that.
Well, the main piece of dialogue that gives it away to me is that she tells Snyder that he'd be busting in on the chief of police.
Yeah.
If he goes
that's why. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not
maybe he'll catch him on the
booted off the force, and like
maybe you'll catch him on the fucking merry-go-round.
Yeah, I know. Like I don't really get like he likes fucking he likes circuses. Like I don't know. I don't know.
It's one of those things you gotta add your own interpretation to it.
He loves that carousel.
What do you think about this movie, Will?
Oh, I loved it. This movie. I'm so glad that you're having us watch these old movies, Joe. I know I mentioned that a few times before, but I just haven't watched a lot of old movies before, and holy shit, dude!
Yeah, the ones he's bringing up just get knocked out of the park
every time. They've all been so good. I don't know, man. I took like 3 pages of notes because I fucking loved it so much, and almost everyone is just like me, just like sucking the dick of this movie so hard. I'm just gonna start from the beginning of them because it'll just be easier. But I don't think I've ever seen that Universal intro before.
That's because it's the old school Universal. Just a cool touch they decided to go with. Yeah,
that's sick. I've never seen that one, and I liked it a lot. So that was
gotta watch the Universal monster movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the era it's from.
I see. Okay. Yeah, it put me in a good mindset for this movie because I went in like, oh, I'm sure this will be good because it's an old movie that Joe's wrecking. But then like seeing that, I was like, oh, this is gonna be some classic shit. I'm fucking in. And
since we're starting at the beginning of your note taking, I really love the fact that it introduces the characters as the players instead of the characters or the actors or whatever.
Yes,
that's another old school movie touch.
Yeah, that made it feel very classic, and I don't know, it gives it more weight to it when they do stuff like that. It makes it seem more theatrical in a way that obviously you just don't get in movies nowadays, like not even fucking close. I'd rather watch this movie like 5 times in a row than watch pretty much any Marvel movie, for instance. And I love some of the Marvel movies, but like, goddamn, these old movies just hit harder, man. Most of my notes are like, "Holy shit, is this the first use of that song? Holy shit, all these people are famous as fuck. Holy shit, I love this intro scene. The cinematography is amazing."
Yeah, this movie
Yeah.
does look amazing in high def.
It
for sure.
does.
Yeah, this is
and
gorgeous.
I did take a couple notes about stuff like that. It looks so amazing that you can see that there's no like this guy on stage when what's her name is dancing, and then like the next guy goes up, the comedian or whatever. You can see that he finishes his joke, like his lips stop moving, but then they 80 yard in like another line there, and he's not moving his lips at all. So that's kind of the wonders of using Blu-ray technology now. You can see that. Oh yeah, they just 80 yard that shit right in.
There were
Yeah.
moments in this movie where the picture was so crisp, I thought it was CGI. When it shows the train going,
Yes.
the rail train going past like the billboards and everything, I'm like, that looks computer generated. It's so crisp and
It
clear.
looks too good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this movie aged like a fine wine. It
Oh,
really
God.
did.
Joe, tell him what you were telling me earlier about the VHS though.
Yeah, on VHS it's not that great. This movie has been restored recently, and it looks way better. I gotta say.
Okay.
Deserved the high def treatment.
Yeah.
So well deserved, yeah. Yeah, that train was fucking awesome looking. Another one of the backdrops, I didn't write which backdrop it was, but it was like it like cuts to just like you can see all these skyscrapers in the background. Like there was like this nice backdrop with like this kind of sun setting almost.
There were several painted backdrops in this movie.
So maybe
couple
that
of
was
you couldn't
painted.
even tell.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say like I wrote that on here. I was like, holy shit! Again, is that a backdrop or is it real? What the fuck? Because like it looks so good.
Yeah, the production in this movie is insane. It's really good.
Oh yeah, most of my notes are start or end with holy shit on this. I really loved it. Did not feel like it's a 1973 movie. I thought this movie was like, I mean, like it definitely is from 1973, but like I thought it might have been more recent. Like it looks fantastic. I love all the grifts that they do. Even just the very first one is so simple and so good. Like heist movies are like my jam, dude. I fucking love heist movies. So this was like a perfect rec for me to watch, dude. Ocean's 11, straight up like one of my favorite movies, like the newer ones with George.
Bro, I was thinking about Loch Lamora the entire time I was watching this movie. I swear to God.
Yeah, dude. Loch Lamora. Just for our, listeners, viewers, we know you're out there. We believe in you guys. Thanks. Like and subscribe. No. Yeah, if you guys haven't ever read The Lies of Loch Lamora, super fucking good book.
Also very much heist.
Yes, super heisty. Thank you,
Like a
Jeff, for
revenge
turning me on to
heist.
those.
Yeah.
Super good. Yeah, like so the very first grift is awesome. We talked about it a bit, but like Robert Redford's so fucking hot in this movie. Like
He is though. He is.
dude, when he first comes on screen, I swooned a little bit. I was like,
I know, I
ooh,
felt
that's
faint.
a good looking boy.
He's got major Brad Pitt face. I don't know.
Dude, for real.
The smile. It's the smile.
Yeah.
Dude, he's so charming. He's just disarming.
Yeah.
He's incredibly disarming.
Oh my god.
When he
That's what I wrote. Good looking and charming. Holy shit.
like the scene in the back seat of Lonigan's car when Hooker turns and looks at Floyd, and Floyd looks back at him, and Hooker just gives this little grin back. I'm just chuckling to myself so loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how fast everything went south for him. Like he let me throw 3,000 down on this fucking roll, and then like you failed immediately. Granted, did they fuck him over right there? I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure they
Yeah.
did.
he pressed a button. It must have been magnets, but yeah.
Pieces of shit.
My man went in and gambled the entire of his chunk of the money on one roulette roll, which I found to be more than a little hard to believe. Like
I
That's
don't
what it
know,
was,
is that-
because the very next scene when he goes to Luther's place and Leroy Jr. is getting escorted out, he's late, and he tells Leroy, "Don't bet against the house." That's what blew me away even more. Like he knows don't bet against the house, yet he just blew every cent he had on that one roulette.
Well, I don't know how does roulette work? Is it black, red, 50-50 odds?
well, it's that plus
you can either
numbers.
bet on colors or numbers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you get better odds. You get stronger odds the more you like. If you go like black 13, you're gonna
Okay,
have
I
higher
don't
odds
have.
than if you just do
Yeah,
black.
I don't find it that hard to believe. Like
I get
That
where
he
Jeff's
would-
coming from, but I mean, it's
At least
explained
a couple
away because
bets.
like
You know what
that's
I
his
mean? Like
character,
all
right?
on one bet. One bet.
But that's his character. He's got like
He
such
blew it
a
away like a
horrible
pimp.
gambling problem. It made sense to me. I was just like, oh, I was like upset about it at first, and then I was like, oh no, this guy's just like an idiot. Like he just gambles his money away super fast. And you could tell because what's his name? Leonard? Is that his partner? His first partner?
No, Luther.
Luther.
He even says like again or something like that. Like so, it's like okay, yeah, like this
It's
guy's
happened before.
yeah, this guy's a habitual fucking gambling.
I just would have found it more
addict.
believable had he gone out and like spent a night gambling and lost it over the course of a night, or at least like a few bets at the table. But like him walking in, dropping all that money on one bet, losing it all on one bet, and walking out was like, okay, we paid service to this part of his character. Now we can just leave it.
We don't have time for that shit, man. We got to get to those dope ass poker scenes because that shit fire. Holy shit, I love those poker scenes.
Yeah.
Is that the only one? Like I don't know. I thought.
Oh, the scene on the train is
Yeah.
one of my favorites.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Oh, yeah,
it's so
great.
good. So
Absolutely
top
great.
tier. Fantastic acting all around. Like everybody was killing it in those scenes. They seem so believable too, which is so. A lot of the times I get pulled out of like older movies. Like I love them, but sometimes they're not as believable. But like that, all of those scenes were super good.
Yeah, that's that whole scene right there, in my opinion, was pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
Like we got like that cut of like the dude going to get the cards and like them setting everything up and him talking about why he needs to go in reeking of booze and shit. And like we get him like applying the booze like it's cologne,
Yes.
Yeah.
like setting everything up. So we get to see the setup and we get to see how that setup pays off instead of just seeing the payoff and then getting the setup. Like a lot of heist movies like to do, and I really liked that a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys your favorite scenes. This is obviously mine, the card scene. But here's a trivia question for you: did Paul Newman do the shuffling and the second dealing and the false cuts when he did that whole thing?
I doubt it, but I feel
I think
like
he
you're gonna
did.
tell us he did.
He did not. No, they did a cut where it was actually a card shark doing that.
They looked pretty good. They were pretty damn
Yeah.
good tricks.
As someone who does a lot of card tricks, it looks sloppy as hell, but I'll take it.
But the thing
I
is that
easily follow how he was cutting that ace to the top every time. It wasn't that hard to follow. It wasn't that hard.
It's second dealing, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's not that difficult to explain how they do it, but the thing is with the poker scene, how does he do it? The movie never attempts to give us an answer for how he does it, other than he's
I
got
like
cards up his sleeve.
Yeah, I'm
I
okay
bet,
with that.
yeah. I bet his
Okay.
cards up his sleeve.
I don't like how completely conspicuously Lonigan switches the decks out. Like he like very clearly like holds his hand over the deck and then like even goes so far as to like place his fingertips on the edge of the table with his palms down
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
like move them very conspicuously onto the table onto his lap.
I don't know. It's only conspicuous because the camera is focused on that. at
I
the
don't
same
know,
time.
man. He rests his hands on a table in a way that an alien thinks they should rest their hands on a table after
Maybe.
watching a couple episodes of a show at one point. Like,
Yeah.
rewatch it again, and like the cut before it cuts under the table, like when he like pulls his hands back, that does not look like human behavior. That looks like someone who's trying to hide something.
But he moves weirdly throughout the whole movie. He has like a weird like stutter step that he does, and like he like rushes in and out of that phone booth a couple times in just like a weird way. That Lanigan or whatever, he looks fucking weird. He's just a weird guy.
It just felt. They talk about how good of a cheater he is. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, yeah, he's a cheat and a real good one too. And the man, I felt like a joke. Like it's just it's so sloppy. It's like holy shit.
You got to remember too, though. This was back when like everything was in like 144p. So like, man, this probably looked like garbage back then, and nobody could tell at all.
They might not have even like they might have just been like trying to show that he was doing what he was doing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think they were just too blatant with it. I think they could have dialed it back. They were at like a 9 and they could have had it at like a 6 or a 7. And I think once again, it's a problem with the editing. I think
I don't know.
because
I feel like you're more receptive to to catching that kind of thing. But you're right. It was that they were trying to make it obvious to the viewer.
I
Okay.
feel like Lonigan is comes off as a better cheat as a banker than anything else because he's better at fixing money than he is actual physical like action. Because especially when it comes down to Billy being able to lift his wallet off of him in the middle of that train, like how does that get by him and his two thugs? Like
he's not as good
unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable.
I feel like we didn't get. I mean, we're going to get to this in a second, but I feel like we didn't get quite enough time with Newman and Redford playing off each other.
Yeah, agreed. Every time they were interacting with each other, it was fucking magnetic.
Yeah, I was just about to say, but the time that we do get with them is very strong. It's very good. That first scene where they very first meet after Luther dies, I enjoyed that scene thoroughly.
I was going to say,
the cut to the bed with nobody on it snoring, like that was so good. I fucking cackled.
He just buries his face in a sink full of water and shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
Plus, it's got such a great comedic payoff, an unintentional one, but a comedic payoff nonetheless when we see him working on this fucking carousel that he's building for his fucking prostitutes. I can't get over the carousel, dude. I laughed so hard when I saw that. They're like, they want time to go around. Cut to them. Fucking carousel. Oh no.
So is he their pimp or is he just work for the matron?
I mean, the movie doesn't get into it, so we'll never know.
Fair enough. I'm gonna say he's their pimp because he's Paul Newman. So
fair enough.
What were you gonna say though, Knack? We rudely interrupted you.
No, it leans more into what Joe's main question is, so I can wait for that.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I can't think of another scene that I love more than that train one too. Like I really fucking dug that. I mean, I don't know, the whole movie is fucking great. I really like any scene with Paul Newman is fantastic. He's so fucking good in this movie. I mean, he's kind of crunchy when we first see him, and then he's like so debonair later on when he gets all dolled up and everything. Like the guy, fucking A, man. There's a reason why he and Robert Redford were like super fucking famous actors. You know, so good at what they do and so handsome, both of them.
I do think like this and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid are peak movies for these two.
Yeah.
Period.
It's the only two they're both in.
Okay. Yeah. I just mean even separately, it's just like they're both at the top of their form, you know.
And
yeah, I totally agree.
I wonder if part of that is their chemistry hitting off of each other like that. Like, just
that's a good segue.
It works.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't. Yeah.
Good segue. Yeah. So the question I asked you guys is, what is character chemistry on the movie screen? I want to talk a little more. So from Clooney and Pitt, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Walter Matthau, and Jack Lemmon, the formula is always the same. You take two sexy ass guys and you put them together. Especially Walter Matthau.
Oh,
I was just about to say. Oh man,
super hot.
Yeah, we've all seen Grumpy Old Men, so we know what is on-screen chemistry.
I think chemistry between the actors definitely plays a factor, but I think sometimes an actor's style could play well with another actor, even if they don't have that chemistry. Like, off-screen chemistry, I guess I should say. So, like, you look at a movie like There Will Be Blood. I doubt that they had shit tons of chemistry off-screen, just from what we know about Daniel Day-Lewis as an actor. But when the two of them play together in a scene, the two of them just kill it together. You know what I mean? Their chemistry as antagonists is just intoxicating to watch. So it doesn't necessarily, I think, have to do with chemistry off screen to have chemistry on screen.
No.
But what it can add to a movie is incalculable. Bad chemistry in a movie definitely can kill a movie for me, especially when it's about those characters. And this is definitely a movie about those characters.
Yeah, I mean, it completely pulls you out of the scene when you see bad chemistry. It's almost it is cringy sometimes. It's awkward and it's fucking weird. And
well, it's kind of lightning in a bottle too, because it has to be supported by good writing. You have to have good writing as well as good chemistry between the actors, as well as a movie that's put together well enough to accentuate that.
Yeah,
I think it says a lot that we all loved Newman and Redford in this movie, even though we all felt that they didn't get enough screen time together. Like they're so good together that we don't necessarily need that extra time because they can just sell it with what little time we do get.
I was gonna say, like, the biggest moment of chemistry I think we see, at least in one scene in this movie, is when they're just after they're introduced to each other and they're talking to each other about just around the carousel, and it's there's different aspects of chemistry between actors. It's not only like actors volleying and responding to each other's lines like on point, like in that carousel scene. As soon as like Hooker ends a line, Gondorf is right just starting his rebuttal almost right away. It's being able to begin your lines, but it's also a factor of credibility. It's also making sure that it's immersing you in the atmosphere, and also providing character progression throughout the rest of the movie as well.
Well, and not to mention recognizing that chemistry when it's there and not ruining it by shit tons of cuts. You know what I mean? Like allowing the characters to play off each other instead of just doing like shot, reverse shot, not even having them in the same room bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you just back that camera up, let the two of them play off each other. Making
sure it feels really natural. I think that's like a key part of it. What I was going to say is, like, I mean, classic examples, obviously, Jules and, I can't remember his name from Pulp Fiction.
John Travolta.
Yeah, John Travolta's character, like they...
Vincent Vega.
Vincent and Jules, like, I mean, classic fucking example of perfect chemistry there, right? Like, I think we pretty much covered it really well. It's just whenever two actors or more, but typically two, just, like, they make it feel supernatural. Not supernatural, but very natural, and it seems more realistic. It seems almost, like they're harmonizing, kind of, right?
And it makes me wonder whether, I mean, I did Butch Cassidy come out before this movie?
Oh, yeah.
1969. So, and that definitely has a hand in providing chemistry, is when two actors have history with each other and know how they respond to certain triggers, I guess.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, doesn't hurt.
That's definitely the case when you have pairings like Affleck and Damon, because those two have been working together since they both started working. You know what I mean? So they just know each other so well that they can just go on and just have a conversation like we have a conversation. It's barely acting to them, I would assume.
But then there's I mean, just as an example that I randomly thought up was Christopher Walken and Sam Rockwell in Seven Psychopaths. Like that.
Yes.
With them.
Yes.
So good at chemistry, and I'm sure those two had never talked before that movie. There's no way. You know what I mean? Like there's no way. And their scene is fucking electric. Like it's part of what makes that movie so fucking good.
I mean, the answer just might be you take two great actors who know how to leave space for the other actor to do their thing.
Yeah.
And you just put them together.
I mean, just another perfect example of a movie we just did, The Lighthouse. I mean, that entire...
I was going to say that, because those two actors didn't talk to each other at all off screen during the making of that movie.
And yet, on screen, it's the most believable movie I've ever seen, almost. Like, it's so realistic, even though it's not, but it is, because the acting, it's so good.
The acting and the research they did in that, but we've talked about all that.
Yeah.
Viewers, listeners, we will direct you to our previous episode, The Lighthouse.
Yes.
Please peruse that at your leisure. Well, let's get back to my notes, because that's more important than any of this other bullshit. No. I did want to say, though, a couple scenes that I did really like, they're just like little things, was at the end, like right after he loses all that money and his gal is just like, all right, well, fuck you. And he's just like, no, wait, whatever. And he just like tosses the wine and walks away. I thought that was really good. I like how when he needs to get into the phone booth and that lady's in there just trying to make a call, he just straight up rips her right the fuck out of there. Like, no hesitation.
straight manhandles her. I mean, it plays in the scene because he gives a shit about Luther. He wants to find out what's going on, like right in that moment. So like, it's definitely believable, but it is jarring as hell to see.
It's super funny, I thought, because he like, I mean, it was, I'm sure, you know, as an actress and whatever, but like, he's just the way that he fucking manhandles her out of there. It's just like, whoa, like, I don't think you could get away with that now, but it would have been like it would have been Stone Woman for sure. Let's see. We talked about the scene change cards. That first carousel scene, I loved that. So good. I literally can't even read this. Oh, when we first meet Paul Newman, and he's wearing this outfit a couple times, but like the fucking wife beater with the overalls on it. God damn, that just works so well for some reason.
Yeah.
He just does. I don't know. And he's so fucking interesting looking and you know, fucking hot looking too. It just, I don't know. He pulls it off, obviously. Did we have any favorite quotes? Because I have a couple.
Yeah, you guys go first. I have two.
Okay. I really liked when they said, and he cheats when they're talking about Lanigan as like a reason for why they could, you know, why they're down to fuck him over.
Yeah.
I liked that. And then who's the Mark Doyle Lanigan or whatever? Flat rate. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Those are the two that I had written down.
I think I really liked Luther said you could teach me a few things. I already know how to drink.
That's like such a classic scene too. Like that scene has been like essentially mirrored in so many other pieces of media, like hundreds of times, right? I wonder if that was like an originating, you know, version of that scene, or if that had been done. I'm sure it had been done many times before this. Joe's about to be like, yeah, in the 1950s there was like 5 movies that did that.
No, I don't know what you're referring to. Like just two classic characters sort of having camaraderie after meeting, and one of them is drunk. I
Well,
don't
yeah,
know.
kind of like the I'm disappointed in this like drunk guy who was supposed to be my mentor, but actually is like a piece of shit. Like that's been mirrored. That's been mirrored
Yeah,
so many times.
I'm sure it has been super influential, but I can't point to any examples.
Okay.
But anyways,
What other quotes do you guys got that you liked?
I was gonna
Well,
say I
then-
like Lonigan's you follow.
Yes,
I like his you follows
Really
every
good.
time he
Yeah.
says it.
really adds a lot to the character. Oh, and that reminds me of something else I wanted to mention before I forget that wasn't in my notes. I love Robert Redford's ticks, and I
what do
don't
you
know
mean ticks?
so he like does this thing with his right shoulder, I want to say, where he kind of like lifts it up a little bit, maybe like adjusting his shirt or his jacket. He does that multiple times throughout the movie, and I don't know if that's something that he has as a person or if that's like something he added to the character. I'm gonna assume he added it to the character.
I almost thought that was going to be brought up at more times in the movie, like when they go to the parlor and he's going to get a manicure, and the woman tries to like do his nails. He's yanking his hand away, and then
Yeah.
the very next shot is at the tailor, and like he's trying to get Taylor's trying to get his inseam, and he again jerks his right hand away from him. It's just like I thought that was going to get played on again sometime in the movie, but I don't think it did.
It seemed like it was like a kind of ADHD or OCD kind of like tick that he added to the character. Obviously, back then they wouldn't have known that's what it was, but I like that he either added that to the character or it's just something that he has, but it gives more credibility to that character for sure.
I have no idea what that is, honestly.
What's your quotes, Joe?
It's close to the end. Almost the last two lines in the movie is when Robert Redford says it's not close, it's not enough, but it's close.
Nice, yeah.
Yes.
And then
So good.
the last line in the movie is, "Nah, I'd only blow it."
Yes,
Yeah.
such good writing for all that.
On one bet for some godforsaken reason.
Yes.
His quarter of $500,000 or whatever. Well, I guess they had to split it between goddamn 100 people, so they all only got like whatever.
That's true.
$50,000. That's still a shitload of money. So
Well, who knows if they split it equally or not? I don't know.
yeah,
how it
fair.
worked,
The main
but-
players might have gotten more money for sure.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
they're taking more of the risk.
Yeah, definitely. I did like. That reminds me of another thing. I liked the newbie who was just trying to help out because was he the one who got punched or whatever?
Eerie,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
Eerie.
yeah. I liked his character a lot. First, I was like, oh no, this guy's gonna fuck it up, but he didn't. So I was like, all right, good.
You know who I really liked in terms of like all of the cast of con men was
Yeah.
Curly. Curly comes on, he says he plays an Englishman really well, and then when what is his name? Kid Twist says, "Go get yourself a suit." He's like, "Oh, I've got all my own stuff." Like he comes prepared with a suitcase full of costumes, and I love
Yes.
it. He's
Yeah.
so prepared.
Bro, that reminds me the amount of Dick Tracy ass names we hear in this movie.
Yeah.
They're like, we need to reach out to some people. He's like, should we reach out to skinny curly haired Joe or red right shoe Larry or
Johnny the Fish, Jimmy the Squirrel.
So was he
Oh,
the guy who was up in the room like buzzing for them? Is that who we're talking about?
No, that was Kid Twist, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Kid Twist was
Who was the guy who played the guy at the Western Union?
Well, that was Kid Twist and J.J. Simmons or whatever.
Which is the one who looks like the distinguished gentleman? Is that Kid Twist?
I don't know, Nacula, you just said it.
oh that Curly. Curly was the
Curly,
guy who
okay.
comes with the suitcase full of get-ups and stuff
And
like that.
he's the one who plays like the guy in the Western Union. Okay.
No,
No, he wasn't in
No.
that scene.
No, who is that guy then? Because he comes in at the very end too, and is just like, "Oh,
Well,
I'm here." And did you make the bet? And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh shit, no, that's the wrong. That's the wrong."
oh, that was Kid Twist.
Yes, that guy's great. That guy
Yeah.
was
Yeah, I
super
like him.
fucking good.
I recognized
Sorry.
the actor who played the like announcer for the horse races, but I
Yes.
couldn't place where I'd seen him before.
yeah, we've seen him in a couple. He's also been in both Next Generation and Deep Space Nine as
Okay.
Boothby.
What's
Boothby
his
was his
name?
character's name. Ray Walston is at the actor's name.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in fucking everything.
He's definitely recognizable. Absolutely.
And I said J.J. Simmons, but it's J.J. Singleton for the other guy who was in that scene in the Western Union office.
What a flex. He's just like, I'm gonna go get this prostitute. And then he's like, I'll pay you $50 to come hang out with me. And then he just brings her to a fucking back alley gambling place, throws $3,000 on one roulette bet, and then he's just like, later, bitch, and takes off. Like,
Yeah.
She ditches him.
Yeah, she ditches him, and he's just like, "No, wait, no." Oh.
Yeah, next time you want to spend $50, just mail it to me.
It's another great quote.
Dude, this Ray Walston's guy's got a hell of a rap or like a that's not right.
Filmography?
Yeah, like holy shit, he was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He was in the original Popeye movie, Friday the 13th TV series. What the fuck?
That guy, My Favorite Martian guy.
Yo, he was in Ski Patrol of Mice and Men. I fucking knew it. That's where I recognize him from. He's in Of Mice and Men.
Okay.
That's Candy. And what the fuck else is he in? He's in the Stand movie.
that's where I recognize him from. That's where I
There you
place
go.
him.
The one with Gary Sinise.
Yeah.
Did he die? Yeah, he died. Oh, that sucks.
Who's alive? Who's still in this movie?
Oh boy.
Robert Redford's still alive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the only person.
Probably.
He was in Captain America too.
And he's good. He's so good in those movies. And that movie is just fantastic. Someday I'm going to wreck that movie because it's the best.
Just
in
as
the MCU.
charming. Just as charming. The man's like 110 years old, and he still just drops panties every fucking scene he's in. I
Still super
can't
hot,
take it.
yeah.
Well, I got some trivia for you about this movie. I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but they use a lot of 1930s slang.
Jake.
Yeah, what does Jake mean?
It
Good.
just means good. Yeah, just
Good,
positive.
cool. Okay, yeah. What does Dick mean? Do you guys know about Dick?
Private Eye.
Detective.
Got it. Bunko,
Oh,
No idea.
I didn't know that one.
same thing. It's a cop.
Detective. Yeah. okay.
Bunko boys. What about G-men?
Government.
FBI
employee.
agents.
FBI, you nailed it. It's not cops, it's specifically FBI. Now the last one is the hardest one. They only say this once. The quill.
That I don't know.
Yeah, same.
No,
The
I
quill
don't
is
know.
the best.
Ah, okay. Yep.
When Kid Twist says they gotta have the best guy, he says the quill.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love it. This
Yeah, the
movie was
vocab and the writing was definitely top tier.
It's just authentic enough, but not hard to decipher.
Yeah.
In a way.
Did you guys see any of the twists coming? I know we talked about the one, but like with the lady that Robert Redford sleeps with at the end, who ends up being an
And
assassin.
I didn't pick up on that.
I wanted to ask you guys this. I didn't the first time I saw this, however many years ago, I didn't pick up on the Celino business. I thought maybe Celino was the person with the black gloves, but obviously she wasn't. But at the same time, I was a little suspicious about the FBI being part of the scam or not. But I honestly didn't know in the moment when Gondorf shot Hooker. I
Yes.
didn't know. It was up in the air for me, I'd say.
They did once again that chemistry, man. Like it's believable.
Well, that's the cool thing about this movie is that it pulls a con on the audience.
Yes, the ultimate grift.
Did you guys get? I think we talked about this a little bit, but did you get fooled by any of the twists?
The Salerno shit, but that's just because it felt tacked on. I didn't really see much we could pick up on before then.
Oh yeah, there's no clues for that one really, but yeah. What about the final one?
I guess the only clue is that, well, maybe it's not even that much of a clue when the thug is pursuing Hooker into that dead end, and then Celino's just there like immediately. But then again, we still don't know who Celino is, so it's not much of a clue, honestly. But that's just on my second watch, I was just like, how, I suppose Celino's just in the shadows, just spying on Hooker.
It's 100%. So the shooting at the end with the FBI guys, that's what gave it away to me, like immediately when it happened. But the only reason that I picked up on it is because I just watched that episode of Community with conspiracy theories. And I think Will's probably the only one's going to get this, but like the end of that episode has a scene like that where everybody shoots each other to like try and teach each other a lesson and like run a con. So like I just saw something with that trope, so it was really easy for me to pick up. Like the moment that they shot, I was like, yeah, they're faking those deaths.
Interesting, yeah.
But had I not just watched that episode, I probably wouldn't have picked up on it as quickly.
Well, the other thing I wanted to talk about is if you like this movie, you might also like, obviously, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. You got Paul Newman and Robert Redford. It's also directed by the same director, George Roy Hill. And their chemistry is great in that movie, too. It's like a Western if you don't necessarily like Westerns from the 40s and 50s.
I know I'd seen it maybe as much as 20 years ago, and I liked it, but it deserves a rewatch. I do want to see it again.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Might have to wreck that sometime in the future, Joe.
I might, but the other one I would wreck this sooner is the movie Paper Moon. I don't know if anyone's heard of it.
No.
Nope.
Because it's the reason I would wreck it is because it's about a con man in the 1930s, and it stars Ryan O'Neal and Tatum O'Neal, and Ryan plays a father, and Tatum O'Neal is his daughter in real life and in the movie, and they're traveling and they're doing their cons, but they're doing more sleight of hand, like conning random people who they encounter along the way, which is what you don't see in this movie. Like in this movie, you don't see too much sleight of hand and pickpocketing and like shell games and like cons that are street level, which is what that movie does super well. And same with this movie, it's made in the 1970s but takes place in the 30s. And I would recommend that pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely check out that Paper Moon. That sounds interesting. So,
let's get into ratings.
I'm just gonna mention, the one time I actually did get choked up in the movie was seeing it was Luther's death scene. Even though I know Jeff mentioned that like Luther didn't get a whole lot of time in the movie, but in the time that he was given, he still said he's out of the game. He puts all of his confidence in Hooker, and then as soon as like Hooker gets into his apartment, sees it destroyed and the windows cracked open, my head was in my hands. Like I was holding back tears on that scene.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw this, I was pretty devastated too, because I was like, I wanted to see where these two characters were going together.
Yeah.
No, but his death being the impetus for everything. Revenge makes a con movie and storyline so much better because it completely absolves the con men in the movie. It's such a perfect combination, and especially when you really give a shit about what they're getting revenge for. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
I can hop in for ratings. I would definitely give this like a 9 out of 10. I don't think it's a flawless movie. I think there's definitely a couple issues that I had, but overall, like, not only did it age really well, but it's just what flaws there were just because I was looking for them. If I was just hanging out with people and watching this movie, I would have just enjoyed front to back. I just really liked it a lot. And the setting and genre definitely help with that because it's right up my alley. And even if I didn't like anything about it, Robert Redford would automatically take it to a 9 out of 10 because that man is caliente.
I'm on par with that. I give it a 9 out of 10. The one thing that kind of just sort of very briefly bugged me is that when Hooker doesn't come clean when Henry asks if anybody's been throwing fake money around. And I don't know why. It makes me wonder why Henry doesn't cut him loose or like put any consequence on him for that. That just kind of stuck out to me. And
well, I don't think Gondorf knew for sure that Hooker was spending fake money.
I suppose. Yeah, it just seemed like Billy did a good job of narrowing it down to being Hooker, but I guess you're right. It's never clear cut as to whether he identifies.
Yeah, I think she was asking a question that Snyder asked her off camera.
Yeah.
How about you, Will? What would you give it?
I'm right there with you guys. I'd say a 9 out of 10, maybe 9.5. This movie was fantastic. It holds up super well. The writing's insanely good. The actors are obviously just bananas good. The Robert Redford and Paul Newman factor, sexiest men alive at this time. Yeah, I don't know. And then you know what? Actually, we're gonna go 10 out of 10 because heist movie like that shit just does it for me, man. I fucking
Nice.
love a good heist. So, and this is like a reverse heist, which I haven't really seen much of before. So I really like that too. I mean, like some of the Ocean's movies do that kind of shit, but I don't remember them building an entire fucking like horse racing, dungeon or whatever the fuck, like, that shit's fucking, that's just good stuff, man.
And that really happened.
That's crazy to me. And it happened a lot too, apparently. So like, that's wild.
At least a couple times.
I mean, that's enough for me to call it a lot. So
Sweet.
Yeah, I really like this movie. Good pick, Joe. Holy shit.
Sweet. I'd give it a 10 out of 10. It's one of my favorite movies. It's one of the movies that I recommend to people because I feel like it's been forgotten. It's sort of overshadowed by The Godfathers and the other critically acclaimed movies from the 70s. Yeah. I just love period pictures like this that don't hold your hand, but at the same time are entertaining to watch. And this movie rewards on rewatches for sure.
This movie is more fun than those movies too. Like I enjoy watching this more than I would The Godfather, honestly.
It's super fun
and boring, and this movie's like,
and
really
it's got
fun.
great music. It's got ragtime. Speaking of ragtime, there is a movie called Ragtime that actually takes place during the ragtime era. I was going to mention this during the If You Liked, You Might Also Like, but it's directed by Milos Forman.
Ooh, okay.
Who made Amadeus.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm on board.
It's pretty good. I like it. It's a Randy Newman score. He does all ragtime music.
This is just propaganda to get Jeff to like ragtime.
Maybe.
Is there a lo-fi version of ragtime? Jeff is all over that.
I'm sure there's some synth remixes out there.
Yeah, you guys got some ragtime vaporwave. Like Jeff he's fucking in, buddy.
Oh, I got one more question for you guys that I forgot to ask. I mentioned we've talked about the costumes. Edith Head is like the most awarded costume designer in the history of the Academy Awards. She did movies for Hitchcock. She did Sunset Boulevard, Billy Wilder movies. I want to ask you guys who is based on her visually. There's a certain character who looks like her that in a movie we've all seen.
I want to. I'm
Edna Mode from The Incredibles.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
You're correct. Did you know that?
Okay.
I did know that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know it, but that's what I was going to guess for sure.
That's cool. Yeah.
This is the one and only time that knowledge is ever going to come into play, so I couldn't help but drop that trivia-ass knowledge I have in my brain.
Yes, that's true.
So my rec.
Ooh. Hype.
I think it's going to be Brick. I think I'm going to recommend Brick. Brick's going to be the rec.
Oh, right. So good.
I really wanted to revisit this movie. This is like the movie that like made me really love like movies. You know what I mean? Like, and the thing is a lot of the like Reddits that I'm in and Facebook pages that I follow and shit about cinema like rag on this movie Memento all the time. It's like, oh, I'm into film starter pack, and it's like Memento, Brick, fucking 28 grams and
Pulp
shit.
Fiction.
So, yeah, Pulp Fiction. But yeah, this movie really, really, just like Roger Rabbit, shaped a lot of what I like now in regards to my media. Just that strong noir mystery snap dialogue shit. I just really, really dig it.
It helps that it's a fucking phenomenal movie too. So
Yeah, I haven't seen it forever, so I'm excited to see if it holds up.